we're here globally. And I wanted to introduce this young global leaders as an initiative of Global Chamber. Global Chamber, which is there in 525 metros, has now come into its new initiative, which is actually introducing the young global leaders, given the times, given the globalization, given the technology infusion that is taking place. And I'm the executive director at Global Chamber, Ahmedabad, and we have Doug Branke, we have Caesar. Doug Branke is the founder and chairman of the Global Chamber, which is located in 525 metros. We will hear from him pretty soon about various aspects of what Global Chamber does and how it integrates into the Young Global Leader Program. And also welcome to Patrizia from South Africa. And she's an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur who integrates technology in a big way, and she's going to talk about that. So shall we give a 1-minute introduction of each one of us so that the guests here can quickly, understand what this whole thing is about? Patrizia, you'd like to go first?
Sure. So yes, my name is Patrizia D'Souza, and I have more than 20 odd years in financial and banking experience. But I decided years ago to start evolving, and I started by doing that with integrating finance and business intelligence. And then a couple of years ago, I decided to evolve once again and use artificial intelligence to ensure that my business adapts to the ever-changing markets and ever-changing world that we live in. Because if we don't do that, our businesses are going to become redundant and they're going to fail. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm involved in quite a few projects. I'm the founder of Bonandini Consulting, co-founder of Tough Guy and Safina. I am head of programs for CAI Global and a venture partner of AIV50. So that's me in a nutshell. Outside of that, personally, I've written a book which became a #1 bestseller last week. So very proud of that. And I just enjoy, we have to evolve with the times. So that's what I enjoy doing for businesses and personally. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrizia. That's very, very impressive. And good to meet you again. While we talk about this, is Aruna there from Suryadatta University? Or anybody from the Suryadatta Institute? Maybe I must send her a link. She might have had a technology challenge, or let me get hold of that. But in the meantime, I want to welcome Aradhita as the young global leader. I'm sitting in Ahmedabad, but she's my very good friends from Ahmedabad, their daughter. And she had some incredible experiences and her way forward in what she has done since what began. And today, she's recognized globally for her innovation. I think I must read her resume a bit. Aradhita Parasarampuriya. He's a fashion and materials designer, originally from India, based in New York. Parasarampuriya combines synthetic biology with fashion to create climate-conscious, ethical, and economical textiles to replace toxic petroleum-based materials. She works primarily with raw materials such as microalgae, Escherichia coli, I think she'll pronounce it better when she talks, and cellulose. Parasarampuriya received recognition on Indian Forbes 30, under 30, 2023 list in the climate change category. She has also been awarded the Swarovski Foundation's Creatives for Our Future grant and the Aronson Fellowship from Tishman Environment and Design Center, which underscores her dedication to advancing sustainable design practices. Her work has been showcased in prominent events and publications such as United Nations, COP27, Vogue, L'Officiel, Brazil, CFDA, Design, No Kill Magazine, New York Design Week, Portland Textile Month, Mana Contemporary, Talking Textiles. That's her, briefly. But I would welcome Aradhita and ask a few questions, and we can jumpstart the whole process. Is there anybody else that wants to give their 1-minute introduction? Please feel free to do it now, because then there'll be questions and answers in our fireside chat. And later we can address some of the questions that could be directed to the young global leaders. Anybody else wants to introduce?
Hi, Shankar, this is Cesar.
Yes.
Just wanted to comment for any one of the young global leaders or joining us for the first time. This is one session of a whole year program. We started last month with personal branding, and you can access the recording of that event in our website. I will put the link in the chat. But we encourage all of you to join us monthly. At the end of the year, we'll have a celebration, certificates for all of you who has been participating, and the basic idea is to be a resource for the young global leaders, to give you the context like Patrizia today, or like the team last month, to develop some new tasks, new ideas, new possibilities for the young global leaders. So just wanted to mention that, and I'll be putting all the links in the chat. And thanks again for moderating today, Shankar.
Thank you, Cesar, for the broad guideline on which we are going forward with young global leaders. And maybe I must dive right into it. Would Doug like to say some few words? Is that fair?
Hi, Shankar. Hi, everybody. No, I'm looking forward to the conversation today. Young global leaders are critically important for the future of the world, of society, and of progress. My inclination, and certainly from my daughter and from the young global leaders within Global Chamber, it's become clear that young people, through technology, through their education, through their own initiatives, have a view of the world and a vision of the world that's far advanced from previous generations, including my generation. So we're counting on you, not just to build global business, but for a social impact around the world, so that the world does become more understanding of different cultures, does become more diverse, and appreciate the value of diversity on innovation and progress in society. And so well beyond the direct benefits of business, there are so many other benefits of you young global leaders being involved. So Shankar and Patrizia, thank you so much for leading today, and we look forward to learning more and working with you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you so much for this broad vision, and that I too heard something very nice from Doug, and thank you so much for that. Like I said, I will get on with a question for Aradhita so that we can set the pace for today's conversation. And Doug mentioned about a new word where there is great impact, inclusivity, and all the things that we talk about, the SDGs of the United Nations. So Aradhita, a question for you would be your interest in sustainability, if you can say a few things on that.
Sure. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for having me here, first of all, and to talk about sort of like the SDGs. And I do totally agree that I feel like for the new businesses, social impact and environmental impact have to go hand in hand. And my interest in sustainability just stems from my background and from my personal experience. So I actually moved to New York to go to fashion school. And once I was in fashion school and I realized how much effort goes into the making of a garment, it just seemed bizarre to me that you could like purchase garments for like $5 at H&M. I'm like, how is that even possible? And growing up in Gujarat, the textile hub of India, I obviously witnessed firsthand, the behind the scenes of the fast fashion industry and of textile production. And so one summer while I was in school, I decided to go back to my hometown and actually work at a textile factory. And I did that for about 2 months. And that is where I had some of the most eye-opening as well as heartbreaking experiences of my life. I saw like the textile factory workers who were constantly exposed to toxic chemicals from synthetic dyes develop skin ailments such as dermatitis, as well as respiratory issues such as asthma. And the untreated wastewater from the factory were often dumped into the surrounding rivers where they killed the marine life and contaminated the soil in which people grew their food. And these practices just like made me look elsewhere, like to develop new material systems. Because, for instance, the garments that we wear, they last for like 5 to 6 years, but the materials that they're made with will like outlive all of us. Like they take over 100 years to biodegrade easily. And so that is sort of what the starting point for me was.
Wonderful, wonderful, Aditya. That's a great, great insight into your career development and how it went through conscientious approach to, safeguarding the workers as well as the product itself. So it's not just about making a product and making money. We need to have everybody aligned and have a good understanding and a good impact on people in the whole supply chain, so to speak, aligned to the net zero, if I can say that. Which brings me to Patrizia. While we are looking at all this, we cannot overlook what technology is able to do for us. On the whole, today I will be discussing how, as young global leaders, we are looking at speed, skills, and scalability. We have come to derive that as a way how the world is moving so fast, you got to catch up. And to catch up, you need the minds and hearts of 100 or 1,000 people all put together in a second. AI, we welcome you. And Patrizia, I want to ask you, how will AI impact the job market in the future and career development?
Thank you, Shankar. So AI is going to automate certain jobs, and it will lead to some job losses in some sectors, but it will also create new jobs and opportunities in fields like data science, machine learning, robotics. The impact of AI on the job market is expected to be significant in the coming years. But while automation will lead to some displacement, there will also be a considerable demand for new skills and expertise that align with new development and deployment of AI. So it's very important that, we understand that AI is there to involve, removing repetitive tasks and the manual labor. Yes, that's expected to be replaced by robots. But jobs with creativity, emotional intelligence, human interactions, those will be resilient. Those are more resilient. AI will create opportunities in these industries, and a lot of the industries like healthcare, finance, education, where this will improve efficiency and accuracy. The AI-driven technologies like natural language, computer vision, autonomous vehicles are all expected to create new job roles in fields like data science, robotics engineering. These are some of the few. But, with to create these new job roles and the change of nature in the work in the many industries, particularly those that rely on data analytics and automation. These require the workers with the new skills, and they need to basically stay ahead of the times and make sure that for their career development, young global leaders know that this world is changing and technology is part of that change. So to make sure that they develop in their careers, they need to stay ahead of the curve and just be aware of the changes, Shankar.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
I was recently reading about the new equation, what the world is going through, which is basically the circular economy. And that's why I'm seeing the great connection between Patricia's area of work and how it so well integrates with what Aradhita is doing. Because no matter what we do, it is called human capitalism. At the center of every innovation, at the center of everything that we are doing in the sustainability domain, it is the human being at the center, otherwise of which it's meaningless in one way. You can make all the money, but if you cannot take care of the people on the planet, all that effort is a waste. So, Aradhita, a little bit of an information about background and why you started using synthetic biology to create material systems. If you can elaborate a bit on that.
Sure. Yeah, so when I first started thinking about sustainability, like the obvious route seemed to be to like work with natural dyes, for instance, or work with cotton or bamboo. And these are often considered as popular sustainable options. But I think people don't often realize how resource intensive they can be. For instance, like to grow cotton or bamboo or to grow the natural dyes, you need extensive amounts of land, you need water, you need human labor, pesticides, fertilizers, just for cultivation, and then fuel for transportation. And this has quite a big like environmental impact, and it also leads to water degradation. And I was thinking of alternatives, and I realized, for instance, by using something like algae to grow my materials, I would be, well, not only like I would be treating wastewater, algae only requires salt water and sunlight to grow. And it has the ability to treat wastewater by absorbing toxic chemicals such as ammonia. Algae is also responsible for half of the atmospheric oxygen. It consumes vast amounts of carbon and greenhouse gases. And so I know like carbon footprint or carbon neutral has become like this big buzzword, but I believe by like using like materials that like right from their origin are sustainable and are actually having like a positive environmental impact, we can actually take a big step towards achieving that goal. Also something such as bacteria doubles in 20 minutes and requires minimal human labor. And so you can overnight grow enough bacteria to fill, for instance, an Olympic-sized swimming pool from a laboratory flask. And I was just very curious about like the potential of like the living systems to scale up.
Good, good. Just to give it a certain slant, is there anybody else that wants to add to what we are trying to do here? Because it's an evolving system, the young global leaders, we want everybody's input. And remember, this is a fireside chat. So all are welcome to suggest anything or to say something. Katie, hi. Good to see you. Katie, are you there? Katie is our executive director based out of UK. And we have been able to do quite a bit in the India and UK corridor. All of this, I think we must proceed. If there is nobody else going to say anything, what is the future of chatbots? Patricia, you might be able to shed some light on that. What's the future and how are we going to utilize that and where are we going with that?
Yes, I was trying to unmute myself. Okay, so chatbots are, they're likely to become more advanced and sophisticated. They use natural language and machine learning to understand and respond to us as humans and our queries and our requests, and they can assist you in career development and our daily lives. So chatbots are one of the most promising AI-powered applications and are expected to see significant growth in the future. As AI natural language processing technologies continue to evolve, the chatbots will become more advanced and sophisticated, and these will have improved abilities to understand and respond to human queries and requests. So they'll likely be integrated into more devices, more platforms and systems, providing a seamless and efficient way for humans to interact with technology. It's becoming more prevalent in places like customer services, healthcare, e-commerce, and other industries, providing a cost-effective way for businesses to communicate with their customers. So chatbots are expected to become more personalized and customized to individual users, leveraging the data and insights from various sources like social media, browsing history, purchasing behavior. These will all become more context aware and able to recognize the intent behind our queries as human beings, leading to more accurate and relevant responses. So that's pretty much another trend that's expected to shape our future, the future of chatbots. They're expected to become more advanced, personalized, and more involved in our daily lives and career development. And that's my, the future of chatbots basically emphasizes the potential for personalization and integration with voice assistants and just general day-to-day living and new opportunities for businesses to provide engaging user experiences.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who likes to add to the technology side? Joanne or Thierry or Shweta? If you can unmute and say a few words on your understanding about where the world is going with technology, that will add to the whole discussions going on here. Thank you so much. No, well, that's fine. Please come. No.
My name is Nokwanda. I'm from South Africa, based in Johannesburg. And my question is directed to Patrizia. So I am a master's student, but my main interest from a PhD perspective is on AI and industrialization. So I recently produced a paper for the Irish Research Council through the University of College Cork in UJ. Where it's really just trying to understand and explore if African firms are already adopting AI technology for export-led industrialization. I mean, we know that Africa hasn't fully industrialized or even begun. And we really are needing now to, I mean, AI and 4IR is now being imposed on us. And yes, it does have opportunities. And like you said at the beginning, they are also like threats. So for us, it's paradoxical in the sense that they are those.
Yeah, Patrizia,
You've muted yourself. I think were you just trying to end the sentence, Nokwanda? We've lost. Just in response, in the meantime, that's an amazing field, and definitely, yes, there is potential for yes, there you are.
Are there any resources that you could direct me to from a research perspective that I can be able to gain more knowledge on? Because most research is very westernized, speaks a lot about the Western economies and how they're industrializing, but there isn't much on Africa. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Pleasure. So Nokwanda, AI in any field is possible at the moment. Yes, for South Africa, I lived in Johannesburg. We are a little bit behind the times compared to some of the other countries. But I must say, being involved in this country with this technology now, the opportunities are endless. And with regards to research, I'm going to jot your name down and we can liaise with, I can liaise with you separately and assist you with that research if you'd like.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I have a question for Aradhita. What are the challenges you could be facing in the area of your work? Is there a bias against biomaterials? And why are companies reluctant to adopt sustainable materials?
Yeah, I believe that there is a bias against biomaterials just because companies have such a long-standing reliance on like something like plastics, which has taken hundreds of years and billions of dollars to develop. And also, it's tough to incorporate new materials into the existing industrial infrastructure, as well as people often associate biomaterials with sort of perceived higher costs and low performance. And so I believe to like be able to market sustainable materials to companies, we have to develop materials that compete economically, as well as enhance properties in a unique way. And that is something that I've been trying to do in my own practice. So for instance, with the beads that I've been making, I've been using a protein extracted from jellyfish called green fluorescent protein. And I've been incorporating that into the beads to provide an interactive user experience as well as a new design possibility. So with that system, if you leave the beads out in sunlight for 2 hours, for instance, they glow in the dark at night for 2 hours. You're activating the jellyfish protein, basically. And so this way, whenever I've seen users interact with the pieces, they now create a bond with it. They see it as a living, breathing organism that's coexisting with them rather than something that's just disposable. So that is one of the ways. And then the second way in which I've tried to utilize some of the biomaterials' unique property has been to automate the production process. And I've done that by using 3D printed molds as well as an automated pipetting system called an Opentron to allocate the biopolymers strategically around the thread. And this means that I can make large-scale beaded panels in a manner that requires zero human labor, and it's also time and cost efficient. So this ensures that sustainability doesn't really remain like a luxury, and it also helps alleviate some of the burden from textile industry workers who often suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome due to constant repetitive hand movements.
Very good. I mean, you said so many things, and I was wondering how I could probably catch up with all the information, all of the research that you do, and your learning curve is so high, Aradhita. And the new thing called ChatGPT comes to my mind. So we must discuss ChatGPT and considerations for YGL career development, because that's the only way everybody can be abreast with what is happening. What do you think, Patrizia?
Shankar, this is, in response to Nokwanda as well, and I'm sure she's aware of ChatGPT already, but ChatGPT is an AI-powered chatbot, and it's such a valuable resource. We've used it. I've been using it every day since December of last year. It came out in November of last year, and you can do so much research, country-specific, language-specific. There's so much information and resources that you can get from there. And as a tool, it provides us insights, advice, information about different industries, job markets, whatever it is that you're looking for. It can help young professionals stay up to date with emerging trends, opportunities, research, whatever it is that you're looking for. There's some ethical considerations in the development of AI-powered tools like ChatGPT because of data privacy and data bias. So organizations need to ensure that they're collecting and using data in an ethical manner and transparent manner. And this is where we call on policymakers as well to make sure that there's clear guidelines for data sharing and data protection. But this is where AI systems must be designed with fairness and inclusivity for any gender, race, socioeconomic status, making sure that it is for all. And there's nobody that gets left behind because there's now new technology. and incorporating emerging technologies like AI into career development tools can provide unique benefits for young global leaders. But we must approach these tools with an ethical and responsible mindset. And by doing this, we can ensure that these technologies are used to promote equality, fairness, and opportunities for all.
Wonderful, amazing times, Patrizia.
Thank you.
So I also want to understand how the government is in promoting sustainable companies, the government's role. Maybe we can look at it, and at the same time, I would point at Aradhita to shed some light into the government's role in promoting sustainable companies. Maybe that's a very good way to see how we can integrate the best of both.
Yeah, so I think to adapt sustainability, the fashion industry needs to prioritize it across the supply chain, as you had mentioned earlier, like from design, from production and like sourcing of materials to design and like life cycle end of disposal. And I think while a lot of companies are starting to take issues related to sustainability and in the environment seriously on their own, I still think the government can play a major role. For instance, by enforcing policies such as the extended producer responsibility regulation, they can ensure that the producers are responsible for the material throughout its life cycle. And the government can play a major role in also enforcing stricter water treatment standards. And by enforcing, for instance, a good example of when the government intervened and enforced a policy that actually made a big change was the Microbeads Free Waters Act in the US in 2015. They enforced a rule that prohibited the use of plastic beads in rinse of cosmetics, such as exfoliants. And I believe that this pushed companies to develop sustainable alternatives and also use sustainable alternatives and really like evened out the level like playing field for sustainable companies versus plastic-based companies. And I think by just like enforcing more and more policies that ensure the use of sustainable materials as well as ethical production processes, we can really like give this industry the push it needs.
Cool. That's wonderful. Let's look at what are the emerging technologies that are likely to impact career development in the future, because all of this is interconnected. You know, the more knowledge, the better the career, the more the government supports, that we all can be happy doing the kind of things we want to do. Of course, there are many other variables that we need to integrate, but today's topic is basically sustainability. I see is the major concern, and how we have governments and the rest of them supporting us along with the new changes in technology. So, Patrizia, what do you think? What are the emerging technologies that are likely to impact career development in the future?
Thank you, Shankar. So in addition to AI, so well done to Nokwanda for picking a master's in AI. But in addition to AI, there are several emerging technologies, especially virtual reality. Those provide immersive training experiences for individuals in various industries. Blockchain. This provides secure and transparent systems for credential verification and career advancement. We've got augmented reality and Internet of Things, IoT devices. These are expected to play a role in career development, providing real-time data and insights that can inform decision-making and performance improvement. So these emerging technologies continue to develop and become more widely adopted. And it's important for young global leaders and organizations to stay up to date on their potential applications in career development. This involves investing in your training, in your development opportunities to leverage these technologies. That's my take on emerging technology.
So what are the potential career paths in technology, according to you?
Definitely, I would say robotics engineering, artificial intelligence, data analytics. When we're talking about technological fields. Those, I would say, are the big ones. And yes, those are the main ones.
Okay. Yeah, obviously, Rwanda's question and the industrial impact of how technologies can actually take them forward, Internet of Things, and what I see as Industry 4.0, all these are career paths, I must think.
Absolutely.
Is like the thing.
Yes.
Sure. So I want to change this whole perspective and go understand from Aradhita, how does water play a role? Water is a very important UN SDG point, and want to understand from her, what role does water play in creation of your biodegradable materials?
Yeah, so water scarcity affects about 2 billion people globally. So it's definitely a very prominent issue that needs to be addressed right away. And fashion plays a major role in water consumption and pollution. For instance, the production of a single cotton t-shirt takes about 2,700 liters of water, which is as much water as a person would consume in over 2.5 years. And by using sustainable materials such as algae or E. coli, they reduce water consumption by 99% during their production process compared to traditional materials such as cottons or silks. And so I think it's high time that we look for alternatives. And sort of what I had mentioned earlier too, we need to focus on resource efficient material, most importantly, so that we're not using vast amounts of pesticides and chemicals just to grow the plants that then feed into the water systems, right? So it's even if the material is biodegradable at the end of its life cycle, that doesn't always mean that it's the sustainable option. And I think there is a lot of greenwashing and misconception around these notions. And for instance, even with dyes, indigo is often considered a sustainable dye option, but it's actually quite poisonous for the environment once it's disposed of. And something in my work that I've been doing to try to overcome these challenges is by using bacteria that express color. And so I grow the bacteria directly on the surface of the textiles and the embellishments. And this leads to up to 430 times less water consumption compared to synthetic dyes. And as the bacteria is growing on top of the material directly, this eliminates the need for dye boards and also eliminates any runoff. And so I've just been exploring alternative systems that are more water efficient.
Thank you. So connected that we need to save water. There are ways to do it at the same time, make it sustainable and have fantastic luxury goods created.
Exactly.
Yeah. So talking about technology, I just want to know from Patrizia, what kind of career paths and how can one prepare for such career paths in technology, Patrizia?
So Shanker, the career paths mentioned earlier are the career paths, if you're looking at the technological side, but individuals can prepare by obtaining relevant degrees, certifications, hands-on experience, staying up to date with industry trends and networking with professionals in the field. Preparing for a career in technology requires a combination of things, and that is education, training, and experience. One of the most important steps is obtaining the degree or the industry-specific certification that you need. We've got, for example, Center for Innovation and AI has got courses for non-technical people in AI where you do a foundation, an intermediate, and then an advanced course where you actually build your own prototype. And these can demonstrate, whether it's a degree or a certification, they can demonstrate expertise and dedication to potential employers. The reason I'm passionate about ensuring that we all evolve with the times is because if AI is used correctly, it can help drive that positive impact that we all need by solving some of the world's most pressing challenges. And while the prime advantage of AI is to enhance businesses and our economy, AI for positive impact focuses on the aspect of AI applied for helping people and the environment and aligning our world with the SDG 17 goals of the United Nations. So staying up to date with the industry trends is crucial for individuals looking to build a career in technology. But this can be done by, reading publications, attending conferences and events. I've sent a link there for the AI community if anybody wants to join. We do once a week, there's an article that comes out about the latest AI news, latest webinars. So just network with professionals in your field that can also provide valuable connections and insights into your job opportunities and in industry developments. And yes, just get your hands-on experience, put the effort in, get involved in the events, just read publications and just keep your knowledge up to date all the time because it's forever changing.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nicely put about how one can be immersed in the new environment. And I see many ecosystems are meant for that. It is how one plugs into it and learns from each other, which is the fundamental of what Global Chamber is doing, because I get to meet so many people who are experts in their own domain. And by interacting and spending time with them, my learning curve has definitely increased. I really welcome some questions from the attendees to see if we are on track. Are we addressing what you're looking for? And if you can just ask a few questions, I will know for a feedback that it's going fine. While you articulate those questions, the main topic today is entrepreneurship. It is about global entrepreneurship. And I would like to ask Aradhita, why did you decide to be an entrepreneur? That's a general question, but everybody has a question. From working to studying to working, finding a job, and to jump into entrepreneurship, it requires a certain quality of commitment, energy, courage, so to speak. So I'd like to get your insights into that.
Yeah, to be like totally frank, it was like a bit unexpected for me. I think I had always been like very self-motivated, but I did always see myself like getting a job after school and like working in the industry, and that was the career path I had in mind. But all throughout school I had been like interning at different fashion companies, and while I really valued my experience there, I felt like I just like did not feel a sense of purpose. Just like having that experience working in the textile factory and everything, knowing what the production of or constantly designing and making new garments, the impact that it had on the environment and on people, it just like made me push myself to look for alternative systems. And once I started developing my own sustainable material systems and I saw that those didn't exist in the marketplace right now, I think that was just like the push that I needed to start sort of like developing my own company. And I think I was really lucky to just like be in New York and be in proximity to a lot of opportunities. And for instance, even the Swarovski Foundation, I think they have been like instrumental in me going from like just an individual to like trying to form an LLC and trying to launch my products. And it was sort of like a 9-month mentorship type of program. So they gave you a grant, but they also connected you with people in the industry who then mentored your process from like an individual to launching a company and how to avoid some of like the pitfalls. And I've also become a part of the new lab, which is a biolab based in New York. They have like helped over 200 startups go through like various rounds of funding, and they had like an open call for founder fellowship members, and I had just applied. And so I feel like just like those opportunities have really sort of like validated my idea and kept me going. But yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So I'm sure that the Swarovski played a big role in getting you that, not just the money, it is smart money to be associated with the biggest in the group. What do you think? Yeah, and how did you, so I'm sure there are a lot of experiences that you had working with Swarovski. Would you like to say a few points of that?
Sure. Yeah, I think beyond the money, it was also just like, so the program that I was part of was called Creators for a Future, where they funded 6 creators from around the world. And so just meeting that cohort members, like I was the only one that was like based in New York, everyone else was from different countries, and just being able to meet leaders in different countries who are also working in like sustainable initiatives. I think that support system and that community was really important to keep all of us going and be able to like help each other and be resources for each other to be able to like brainstorm and answer questions. And I think that is definitely like when I moved to the US, I didn't know anyone here. And for me to be able to like approach venture capitalists or like, like have these doors open for me would be very, very difficult. And Swarovski Foundation really helped bridge that gap for me, just by having them sort of like back me up. Even just like saying that to people made people take me more seriously. And I think initiatives like that are super helpful, and they connect you to 3 mentors. So for instance, my mentors were in the fashion industry, the marketing industry, and the business industry. And so from like 3 different perspectives, I think they really helped shape my business. So I think like programs like that are really important to help, like young people get some sort of support.
Incredible, incredible. These are amazing times, because somebody who's doing studies in India and finding a way, an invention, innovation, lands up in New York, and you get into this entire ecosystem, and it just kind of goes up, up, and up.
Hopefully.
How did you? So I will come back with some question for you on your United Nations, but before that, I would like to ask Patrizia, how will virtual reality technology evolve in the future?
Sure. I just wanted to say, Aradita, you are amazing. I am so amazed at what you've accomplished. And it's like Shankar said, all the way from India to New York, and this is how you've evolved. And just by getting the internship or funding with Swarovski has put you, ahead of the pack in what you love doing, what you have a passion for doing. So I am really amazed. Really amazed.
Very kind of you, and it's been so interesting to listen to you talk. So yeah, definitely very inspired by you.
I am in a completely different field, but I am amazed in what you've done, really, and what you've accomplished. And you're young, and you've got so many years ahead of you. So well done.
Oh, thank you. I mean, my only introduction to AI has been ChatGPT, which I'm sure like a lot of people from like non-technology backgrounds can relate to. And so just like listening to you talk more, I'm just like very interested in learning.
But it's amazing, because that has also evolved the way we do research. We had Google, and it would give you all the URL links, but then you had to still go search through each article. And now this gives you the whole thing just all at once in a couple of seconds. So, but it's good that you're using it, and you've evolved in those times as well.
Shankar, Patrizia.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. No, tell me.
And I was just thinking when she said that she just knows about ChatGPT as part of what we do in in CAI, and how AI can infuse that logic, that beyond that, and how it all can be articulated to create a model, which she has, but there is a probable coming together on separate note, how AI can help in the luxury segment. We must talk to her sometime. You must.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just with ChatGPT is to make sure that your sources are valid. It gives you such amazing content, but just verify that content. That's all. In response, Shankar, with AI and all these different fields that we've got and different technologies, they're here to augment and enhance human capabilities. No matter which technology you decide to go into, these will lead us to better productivity, efficiency in the workplace. In the future, I know it's subject to much debate right now. There's a whole lot of things, whether it's AI, virtual reality, whether it's robotics, engineering. It doesn't matter which field it is. Unfortunately, I saw this thing that in 1984, teachers were against calculators. They wanted them banned. And here we are in 2023 where, they want ChatGPT banned. So I really feel that no matter what technology we have in the future, and it's forever evolving, everything is expected to become more sophisticated and capable of performing increasingly complex tasks. So whether it's data analysis, natural language processing, creative tasks such as writing or designing, the potential for technology in our future has the ability to automate any repetitive or even dangerous tasks, allowing humans to focus on the more creative and fulfilling work.
In fact, I came to know that robos mean drudgery, and realized that we are in a creative economy, that we were made in the face of the gods, and we are supposed to actually live that life. But whatever happened, so much of drudgery, so much of hard work to achieve. And today with ChatGPT and AI and robotics and everything, we can take charge, the real dominion of how businesses have to be done by intelligent means, inclusive ways, and to be human is the future that I see from a very positive perspective. When machines can do what humans were doing, humans can go forward and do the things which they are actually supposed to be and do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so aligned to the United Nations. I'm amazed that the United Nations 17 SDGs give so much of meaning to my personal life, not just trying to do big things. And I always see that as a great force for good. And global is definitely good. And thanks, Doug, for that. And I would turn to Aradhita and ask her to give some few words on how was it your experience at United Nations. You know, we do these conferences. I went for a conference in Delhi. I saw 100, 200 people there. You standing in front of 5,000 people, that's what I heard, Aradhita, or probably more. How was it, the whole experience with you and your colleagues? It will be exciting to hear from you.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Like, I'm a big propagator of the UN SDGs. I feel like they really give you like a holistic view at the problem. I feel like people often get super tunnel vision, and by focusing on specific SDGs, you can put your problem in like a broader perspective and address it from social, environmental, and economical perspective, rather than just focusing on one point of view. And so I've been involved with the UN. I was introduced to them by the Swarovski Foundation. And since then, I've been able to cultivate a relationship of sorts. And they invited me to talk at the UN Water Conference, which went on for a week. And they had like a specific panel on the fashion industry and the impact of fashion industry on clean water. And so I was one of the 4 speakers on that panel. And I must admit, I felt some sort of like imposter syndrome a little bit, because everyone else there was just like a lot more established and like CEOs of like really big companies who I'd looked up to for like years and years and years. So being on the same panel as them was like very inspiring, but also yeah, it just like made me reflect more on my own practice and where I am. But like, yeah, everyone, I feel like in the sustainable industry, I've found this sort of like community. And there is like, obviously the shared goal is sustainability at the end of the day. So it's like a way of like, like finding community, but also encouraging each other to keep going. And I think just by like being a part of these conferences and meeting other people who are working in the same spaces can really help build a network, but also a community.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Aradhita, we welcome you to this YGL program, which will be an ongoing phenomenon. And you seem to be one of the leaders out there, and like you to be connected with the rest of them soon. And we will stay connected for all that you bring. It has been very insightful and very, very rich content, what you spoke about from your very experience. This is the kind of stuff that we are looking to do, to expose young global leaders and get them the position and the recognition amongst global receivers and audience and business people, and see what synergies we can develop further. And I want to thank Patrizia for all that you brought in the technology domain. And there is no going there out there without technology. It is like electricity was some time back. And today we have to integrate technology into almost everything that we are working with. Thank you, Patrizia. Would you like to say any parting remarks?
Thank you for having me. I hope you have enjoyed the session. And if you'd like to get hold of me, I've put in my LinkedIn profile. With pleasure, please join our AI community to be up to date if you're interested in on the AI side. But I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Aradhita, any parting words from you?
Yeah, also this was just like such a great experience. Thank you for having me. And it was nice to be able to like meet everyone and hear more from you, Patricia. And I would love to stay in touch and see where the program goes as well over the year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Caesar.